Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Mirikitani with another episode of Weighing In, brought to you by USA Wrestling, the national governing body for wrestling in the United States, and by Nike Wrestling. Go to athleteps.com for all of your Nike and USA Wrestling branded gear. For those of you in the 25 to 39 demographic, Grant Turner will be back with us next week. He just landed in State College. There's a dual meet out there tomorrow, Mark.
That's what I hear.
We might talk about
David,
it.
I'm wearing border bra stuff.
Man,
here.
Respect.
I like
respect.
it.
Appreciate you. Yeah, that's a Nike. That's a Grant Turner special right there. Yep. I think we got the big logo on the back as well. So those are super comfortable hoodies. The zip up ones. I never wore a zip up hoodie till I was an adult. Like working out. It was always just the pullover ones, right? But the zip up hoodies are kind of smooth, and the thinner ones like those you can kind of wear probably 7-8 months of the year. So
you're right.
Anyway, let's get into it. We got a lot to discuss. Let's get to freestyle first. The Henri Deglane. I'm going to try to do GT justice. Here are the full results. Thank you, Flow Wrestling. Nick Suriano goes 9-0, 8-2, 10-0. DeSanto, let's talk about this, Mark. He goes 6-3, then 14-13 over Nashon. Was down 10-2 at the break. 5-4 over Shelton Mack. Shelton Mack loses in the finals to DeSanto, and Garrett takes third. So, obviously, we've all followed DeSanto's career, kind of waiting to see when he was going to pop up on the international circuit. Here he is. What do you think?
Oh, I'm real happy for him. I think it's good for him. I guess I just, watching him wrestle RBY for the last few years, not being able to finish that single that he was able to get in on many, many times. He's learning some stuff, so it's coming. And I don't think we would have predicted him winning international freestyle tournaments a year out of college. I thought it was going to take him a while to get used to freestyle, but yeah, I'm impressed. And he beat good kids there, Mac was number 3 on the ladder at one time?
Well, Sheldon Mack had to be the 1 seed of the Americans because the other 2 were on the other side. So, this meet was heavy Americans, as we'll get to. So, Lugo goes gold, goes Penn, 4-3, 6-2 over Colo, 7-0 over Kizan Clark, who's representing Germany. Ridge Levitt gets a bronze, goes 15-4, loses to Kizan, who pulls him back through, then wins 5-3, 8-2, and beats Colo 15-12 in an awesome match. Colo takes 5th, lost to Lugo, lost to Lovett. Evan Henderson was 5th, lost to Kizan Clark, and then forfeited out. Ashnault did not place, which is interesting. I think he's pretty good. Lost a good one to the guy that made the finals to get pulled through. Won 6-5, 13-3, and then lost to the Argentinian 6-5. Pantaleo running through people 10-0, 10-0, 12-1. Cody Chittum. Hawkeyes had a good meet over there. Goes 10-10 quarterfinal loss and then wins 2 on the backside. Joey LaValle, let's go MIZ, 11-0, 10-0, pin over Vincenzo in the finals. Vincenzo beats Fine Silver, then the German, then Colin Purinton, and then lost to LaValle. Purinton takes 3rd, Josh Shields 5th, Evan Wickett 79 1st. Beats the German by tech fall, then beats Lujan by fall and Marinelli 6-5. It's good to travel all the way over there to wrestle each other. We're seeing this a lot. Marinelli silver, Lujan bronze, Owen Webster 5th, Eric Schultz gold. Guess was a round robin, it looks like. 4 people, everybody wrestled everybody. So he was first, JILO was second. They wrestled first round, so that was probably a weird draw. So Jaden wins 11-0 and then defaulted or forfeited out in a round robin. So maybe he just wanted to get that match in, see how he felt at 97. Hopefully he's not banged up, but we haven't heard anything. Morgan Smith takes silver. Christian Lance takes silver. And the women, Audrey Jimenez, silver. 10-0, 11-2, 13-2, loses 7-2 in the finals. Emily Shilson, same weight class, 5th. Savannah Cosme at 57, DNP. Forrest Molinari, bronze. Wins, loses, wins. 2 big wins by Tech, 1 loss in the semis, 5-3. Probably the biggest surprise to me was Kennedy Blades went 0-2.
Yep.
So she's obviously young and has a long way to go, but I think she's really good. So that was a little surprising to me. Any other takeaways?
Well, we had talked about this last week, just, and I thought it would be a lot of Americans wrestling Americans because some of the countries didn't go to this, but it was good to see our young talent there, guys that aren't real high on the ladder, but they're getting up there. So yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yep. All right, let me share this tab. Let's get into the rankings because we got picks we want to make, prove once and for all how dumb we are. So, or at least how dumb I am, how smart you are, Mark. All right, so here's the trends. We're going to click back and forth between the trends and the way to 25. Probably the biggest mover of the week in terms of team points for his team. Matt Ramos goes from 9 to 3. He was your preseason pick at 25 to All-American that was not in the top 12. You and I looked at that off air. We might have to redo those. We have guys like Teamer and Ferrari and other people in there that make things a little wonky. Yori Wolk moves up. Jared Tremblay moves up. Tanner Jordan moves down. Nick Provo moves down. So your top 8 here: Spencer Lee, Pat Glory, Matt Ramos, Liam Cronin, Killian Cardinal, Patrick McKee, Michael DiAugustino, Eric Barnett. Ramos beats McKee head-to-head, and you have the headline here, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him last year at Nationals. He wrestled up at 33. He was always a really good freestyler. He was just at a weight at Minnesota that I guess he just couldn't beat McKee, yet he found a way to beat him in the duel last weekend. So, more power to him. Sometimes going to a different school, different atmosphere makes a world of difference for these guys. And I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. I think he's legit. I mean, when was the last time you saw Spencer go flying through the air? I mean, I've never seen him get thrown like that. So it was, give the kid credit. He's out there wrestling and he's not going to hold anything back. So
we got to shout out Christian Thompson here at Fantasy Grade. This is another cool feature of this. You can chart how these guys, like where they're trending. Have you looked at this?
We talked about this last week a little bit, David.
Yeah, but we didn't really get so there's
no.
Now people have to understand this is the opposite of the stock market. Going down is good.
Yep.
Because one is at the bottom. So I'm just saying, because most of us are like, well, they should be on the rise, and it's based on numbers and low number wins. Okay.
Yep.
So Liam Cronin's another one here. I wanted to just give an example. Like there's some movement, right? Like started at 23 and now he's at 5.
Yep.
So any of you guys playing these contests at the end of the year, there's things to look at. 33, the big mover was Drury, goes from 22 to 13. So your usual suspects here: RBY Fix, Vito McGee, Latona, Philippi, Carter McGonigal's new, Lucas Bird. And it feels like the matchups in the quarters are all super matchup driven. Like there's certain guys that can give each other trouble. Like Vito gives McGee trouble, but right now, if they're 3 and 4, that's not really a problem. I don't know if McGee and Latona have ever wrestled. That'd be an interesting match. Ragason's at 7. So you'd have McGonigal and then Fix if you were able to get past that matchup. Chris Cannon's a dangerous 12 down there. So just another thing to look at. Trends at 41. Berglund is going the wrong way. Danny Pacino's going the right way. Malik Hines the right way. Cole Matten the wrong way. So we go to 41. You and I talked about this off the air. This feels like a weight where, for me, if Casey Swiderski made the finals, I would not be shocked. I would be surprised, but not shocked. And he's at 13. So this feels like a weight that obviously all the weights have the equal amount of impact on the NCAA team race. But this is one where there's a bunch of probably fairly likely results that are all super different.
Agreed, 100%.
Who do you like right now in the finals here if you had to pick?
I like Real Woods just because he has the experience. Nobody else has got that kind of experience.
Well, Cole Matthews does.
Oh, Cole Matthews, true. But Cole's lost a couple matches this year. Hasn't really got a lot of offense. Real Woods doesn't have a lot of offense on his feet. I mean, he goes out there and does things, but he's really improved on the mat. I don't ever remember seeing him. Him and Spencer must spend a lot of time together.
Because, that's the Spencer Lee effect, right?
Yep. So we're going to see how far that carries him. I still think he has to get his shape to where he's just as strong as in the third period as he is in the first, because I'm not saying he can wrestle in positions, but when he's got a 4-point lead and you shoot it on his leg and you get it up in the air, he doesn't fight it real hard. He's not going to make a mistake and have a chance of giving up back points. So he'll give up the 2 knowing that you're not going to take him down 2 more times in 30 seconds. So he's not too worried about it. But I don't like guys giving up points that late in the match.
I don't think this is like a news flash, but he beat Brock Hardy and Casey Swiderski without a takedown. That's pretty unusual.
Yep.
So I think the book is, if you think you're better on your feet, take him down, cut him loose, pick neutral. Like you have to get 2 takedowns in 9 minutes that way. Like that's the formula. So, okay, we go to trends at 49. Nothing. So that's helpful. 49. Yanni, Gomez, Sasso, Yaya, Parco, Pinheiro, Brock Mahler, Caleb Henson, Max Murin, Jonathan Milner knocking on the door, Shane Van Ness lurking at 13, Jaden Abbas lurking at 14. 157 trends. Levi Haynes, your guy, way up. Jake Keating up, and Jacob Wright down. So 57. This is the other weight I think that is fairly chaotic, Mark. Peyton Robb, Jarek Franek, Austin O'Connor, Josh Humphrey, Bryce Andonian, Ed Scott. Those guys had a barn burner. Kendall Coleman, Jared J. Cuse. Then you have Haynes, Luan. So what they did with the rankings was they sort of met in the middle.
Yep.
Like last week, Luan was 9. Actually, they didn't meet in the middle. They just moved Haynes above Luan.
Yep.
So at least as a consensus, like Flo still has Levi Haynes behind Luan, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Daniel Cardenas is only ranked by one source. Caden Gefeller, Mikey Carr off the dinosaur list back into it.
That was something.
And Brayton Lee, your pick to win it is there at 17. Just letting everybody else set the pace, and he's going to come back off, on the final lap and run everybody down.
And he's like that horse that, at the turn and he's in dead last, and then he sprints toward the end. So I'm still waiting for that sprint. I think it might be there somewhere, but I'm not sure. He still may be hurt. I don't know. He's just not wrestling like what I've seen in the past. So
clearly. Yeah. And I'm teasing you because I had some terrible picks too. So who your finalists here?
Well, right now, Peyton Robb looks really, really good. I haven't seen a lot of Franek. I know Austin O'Connors, if he's healthy, will make a run for the finals.
Yeah.
Andonian is a beast. Boy, he can throw some points up there. I just don't know if he can do it with some of these guys that aren't going to get into certain positions that stay, like Austin O'Connor has wrestled him. And, it's real basic, didn't do anything flashy, didn't get in the upper body positions, just single legs, taking him to the mat, beating on his head a little bit, back to his feet, back, single legs. So there's a way to beat him. But if you're just going to go out and wrestle and let it fly, do not do it with that kid because he's really good at it.
Well, and that looks like round 2. If these were the seeds, Andoni and Caden Gefeller, that's like one of those matches they are going to let it fly.
Yep.
And then he would have Humphreys and Peyton Robb, and that'd be a fascinating path. So go back to trends here, 65. So a lot of things here. Facundo, Max Mayfield, and Matt Singleton move up. Singleton was a big recruit. Justin McCoy falls. Wyatt Sheets falls. Got some Oklahoma State guys going in the wrong direction. So Keegan O'Toole, David Carr, Quincy Monday, Shane Griffith, Cam Amin stays at 6 despite the loss. Body of work, I'm guessing. Dean Hamidi, Alex Facundo, then Julian Ramirez knocking on the door. Really good guys here. Karchla, Hall, Kennedy, Caliendo, etc. 74. Go trends. Max Mailer. These are all down at the bottoms, so we're going to kind of sprint through these. 74. These are the names that have pretty much been there. Edmund Ruth is a guy to keep an eye on, folks. I think he's undefeated.
Yeah.
And he's got like 20. He's like 20-0. So like he's wrestled some dudes. So he would be in a position like I know he's beaten Mako. And, either directly or indirectly, either in duels or some version of the Big Ten tournament, he's going to get a shot at Ethan Smith, Labriola, Carter Starace.
Yep.
So that's a guy to keep an eye on. 184, Brooks, Keckheisen, Hidley, Coleman, Romero, Bolin, Jonathan Lowe, Trey Munoz. And then you got guys like Fine Silver, Salazar, Assad, Whitlake. The Assad-Whitlake match would be a huge match in the Oklahoma State-Iowa duel. Like that's, when they're one apart, like that's the definition of a toss-up. Lenny Pinto's at least had good moments, and he's down at 14, and Brian Soldano's had good moments. He's at 16. Adam Kemp's got high upside. He beat Foca a year ago at 74.
Yep.
97. So here's the other one. Let's get your picks here. Rocky, Nino, Max Dean, Bastida, everybody else says that wrong. Now I'm doing it. Younger Bastida, Bernie Truax, Michael Beard, Jacob Warner, Isaac Trumbull, Laird. Now, Dupre is out. Okay, Win Magazine, he is out for the year. He's actually joined the coaching staff. He had a season-ending injury.
Okay.
So Bronigal, Tanner Sloan, Owen Pence, Jackson Smith, Braxton Amos, Cam Caffey all move up. Bronigal probably, I would argue he has a better body of work than Jackson Smith, but Jackson Smith pinned him head-to-head.
Yep.
So pick your finalists here.
Well, I think I picked Rocky Elam and Younger Bastida.
So if they're on the same side, pick somebody else.
All right. I'm going to take Michael Beard.
So that Beard would draw Max Dean, who he's already wrestled, right?
Yep.
And then he would draw Bonacorsi. I don't know if Lehigh wrestles Pitt. They're not in the same conference, but geographically they're close to each other. So it'd be something to check out. Ethan Laird's dangerous, dude. Just saying. Like, Ethan Laird has actually beaten Zach Elam when he was at heavyweight in freestyle.
Okay.
So that would be a fascinating match if he could get by Trumbull. Trumbull just took a loss to Andy Smith, which was pivotal in the duel.
Yes.
Okay, 285. So we have a new number one, Paris. We got Kirk and Cass at 2-3. Or Big Tone. Sorry, Mark. Lucas Davison, Dayton Pitzer, who again spoke to Coach Gavin. They may not wrestle him this year. He was a 215-pounder. He's a true freshman, 130-3 coming out of high school with 3 state titles in big schools in PA, but he's 215, and they're just like, they know what he can do. They know his upside in terms of beating like a Schultz and things like that. But, how does he survive, a whole tournament? Now, if you look at this, if this was the draw, you would have Trevor Tinker from Poly. That's a good first round draw in terms of size and everything. And then he would draw Tyrell Gordon, who's not a huge heavyweight. And then Lucas Davison, who's not a huge heavyweight. So, but the odds of these being the seeds of nationals are like slim and none. It just never holds this long. So anyway, let me stop sharing here. Let me look at my notes, make sure. Okay, so we talked about, so let's talk about this, Mark, because we're going to get into these duels. Does Penn State wrestle Levi Haynes?
I'm going to say they do.
Okay.
He's the best kid, and usually, you have a motto when you put a kid into a program. If you're our best kid and you want to compete, you're going to compete. So some kids don't want to wrestle their first year. They just want to be a student in the room. But I think he's going to compete. In fact, he was in that room, not the collegiate room, but he was in the RTC his senior year, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's what he did. So he's been around all these guys and trained for a year. So I think he's probably ready and wants to do it. But it's going to ultimately be up to Cale. I could see holding him out and getting 4 more years out of him. But then, we both know, David, when you have a guy that could maybe be in the finals, you wrestle him because you never know what's going to happen. You can blow a knee out.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Yeah. So the argument for sitting him is, let's go to these team points real quick. Let me go back and share this. Let me stop sharing this and go back real quick. I keep skipping this stuff, which I should not do. So again, if you're new to our show, this is the composite rankings of intermat flow and win. So Penn State's at 113 and a third. Yep. Missouri, Iowa, and Cornell are all in the 60s. Nebraska, Iowa State, VTech in the 50s. And then it's Michigan's in the only one in the 40s and at the low 40s. And there's a truckload of team in the 30s. So you don't need Levi Haynes, according to this.
No, I think you could probably leave 3 kids at home for Penn State, and I still think they probably win the national title. I still think they could. Yeah, they could put 6. They could probably put 6 in the finals, David.
Well, of course, if you say what you just said there, like if you take 25 off their team, that doesn't hurt them. If you take Haynes off their team, that cost them 2 points. And I was looking at where Facundo is. Well, he's in the rankings now.
He's up to 5.
He's in the rankings now. Van Ness would be the other guy that's not in the top 8. So if you peel those guys off, you would literally lose 3.5 points. I mean, if you think that these are the numbers, they can win it with 4 guys. Because they can go 1, 1, 1, 2. That's 76 points.
Yep.
So, and this has been how they've done it, is frontline strength with usually a couple holes in terms of not ever placing all 10 guys. The interesting thing, and we're about to break down the duel, is if Iowa wrestles well, they probably need Haynes to win the duel. So one last thing before we get into our duel picks, the first coaches rankings are out. Now, if you know how these work, I started the screen on here. The coaches rankings are one of several criteria to be evaluated by the NCAA Division I seating committee, including head-to-head, quality wins, RPI, almost at RBY, RPI, conference tournament placement, common opponents, and win percentage. The other thing is this: unless you have enough matches, you don't get one of these, okay? So, for example, Spencer Lee is not in here, okay? RBY is not in here. And we can go pretty much down here. There's a bunch of these guys, like Yanni is not in here. So I don't know how much attention I would pay to these right now.
Agreed.
Guys are going to pop in at the very top. Like Aaron Brooks is not in. Rocky Elam is not in. Greg Kirkfleet is not in. They're just, you can pick a guy at almost every weight that is significant in terms of where it would change everybody's rankings. And the other thing to point out is, it's not just, Penn State would get Kirkfleet's points as everyone else drops. Iowa gets less points, Northwestern, et cetera. And their Iowa State, Sam Schuyler goes from 8 to 9, which is, besides 1 to 2, is the biggest drop off.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to pick first, Mark.
Let's do Michigan and Ohio State first.
Okay. So we did not ask the great Grant Turner for these picks, but we do have his other picks. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we've got time here, Mark, which I like. We don't have to just throw picks at the board. We can literally talk about why, maybe how we see these matches play out a little bit. Okay. Yep. I like. So let me get pen. Let me get paper. Let's go. I'm here for it. We got Mark. We got David. We got 125, 133, 141, 149, 157, 165, 74, 84, 97. Heavy. Important to remember, there are 3 duels this weekend on the Fantasy Grade website. There's this duel, the Iowa Penn State duel, and there's the Oklahoma State Iowa State duel, which is on Sunday. Okay. All these are free to play. You can win prizes in all 3 of them. So even if you're not in the season-long contest, so just real quick, the way the season-long contest is, there's 20 duels, but only your best 8 count. And I think there's been like 8 now because I'm in second place. So, but for example, like I know there's one where I didn't place. So if I were theoretically to take any top 8, top 12, that would replace that one, and it's a move up. So it's it's only your best 8. It's like you throw out the 12 Russian judges. Okay. So people that haven't played yet can still win. You can have 0 and still come back and win.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I just think that's important for people to know. All right. Agreed. So are we sharing screen here? We need to.
Yep.
You know I'm a nerd, bro, but I freaking love this site.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. So Jack, he's also got this cool where the rankings are like right on those columns next to the weight class, okay?
Yep.
Medley's 19th, Malik is 10. I'll tell you what I think here first. For Medley to win, he's, I think, a bigger 125 than Heinzelman. He's got to get a takedown and ride tough. He reversed Barnett to his back, and that was the thing that broke the match open. I think Malik's better on his feet. I could see Malik winning this match like 5-3, 2 takedowns to none.
Okay. So your pick is Heinzelman?
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna take Medley.
Decision.
I think, yeah. I just think he's too strong for him.
No, it's fine. Okay. So you've got 33. This is number 10 against number 11. So, and this match is not getting as much shine as the other one, but there's some good matches here.
There's some great matches here. And I really want to take Mendez. I really like him as a true freshman, the way he goes. But I think Raguson's just a little bit too seasoned for him right now. I think Dylan will probably win this match. And I think it's just going to be he picks and chooses his spots to score. And because Jesse's just going to continue to go at you. And he gives up things that he probably shouldn't give up just yet. But I think he's going to get better. But I'm going to take Ragusin. I'm not saying at Nationals that they wrestled, I'd take Ragusin, but right now I'm going to take Ragusin.
You see that as like a 1 or a 2 point match?
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of do too. And I think the fact he's a veteran, he's been through the battles. I agree.
Yep.
Okay, so 41's a great match in terms of even guys. Number 29, against number 27. So it's D'Amelio and Matten. And honestly, I don't even really know who I like here. I guess I'll take D'Amelio by decision, but I could be talked out of this one very easily. And I feel like it's a 1 takedown match.
Yeah, I'm taking D'Amelio too, and I'm going off of what I saw last year, not what I've seen this year because he hasn't wrestled a lot. But last year, I watched him wrestle guys and just, he beat Penn State's 41-pounder last year, one of the freestyle tournaments, and beat him up pretty good. He can wrestle. He just hasn't really gotten the flow yet, and I think maybe this is a weekend that he does it.
That match feels a little bit like 41, kind of like the slick guy versus the bigger guy.
Yep.
Okay, 49, Sasso, Lamer. Who you got?
I got Sasso, and I think he'll probably – I'm going to go Sasso with the major. I just think he's got too much stuff.
I'm going to go Sasso fall.
Okay.
Just feel like the cradle's coming, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're saying the same thing. I think it's basically you think he gets off his back, and I don't think he does. Pretty much the difference, right?
I think he'll be on his back, so we'll see.
That's what I'm saying. He'll get whether the decision, the difference is whether he gets off his back or not.
Correct.
Okay, 157. Will Lewan, Patty Gallagher. Patty Gallagher was a huge recruit, has not wrestled up to those expectations so far this year. Will Lewan was a consensus top 3 guy, just lost last week to Levi Haynes. Both of them are having seasons they're disappointed with. I think Lewan wins like a 3-2 kind of match. Like he's really good at doing, like, getting you to do nothing and scoring when he needs to. So I'll take Michigan here by decision.
He's a kid that probably does the least in college wrestling, yet gets results. He's not going to make mistakes. He's not going to pressure you. He's waiting for his one shot or his one counter from your shot, and he's happy with that. And that does catch you sometimes, like it did, against Penn State. So, yeah, I think Lewan's going to win this. I'm waiting to see what Patty Gallagher turns out to be because, like you said, his credentials were phenomenal coming in, and he just hasn't hit stride yet. So we'll see what happens.
And Lewan, to be fair, got a 1-second escape at Nationals to beat Jared JQ. So when he has to go, he can go.
Yeah.
Okay, 65. Cam Amin, number 5. Carson Karchla, number 9. This is a great match. Both these guys were All-Americans last year. Amin comes off the loss to Facundo. Karchla has been banged up, but he had a great match with Keegan O'Toole in the quarterfinals of NCAAs last year. Had that kind of laying double leg where, some people said it was a takedown, in which case, all else being equal, he would have won the match. Who do you like?
I like Karchla. I just think he's an all-around better wrestler. Cam Amin is another one that just doesn't make mistakes. So Carson hasn't wrestled a lot this year. Cam Amin hasn't wrestled a lot this year. I think Karchla really wants this, and it's at Ohio State. So I'm going to go with Karchla.
I agree. And for almost the identical reason. I think Karchla is like, maybe this is a dumb way to look at it, but I think his ceiling is higher.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's a guy that could win the NCAAs. And I'm not saying that Amin can't, but I think Karchla is more likely. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 74, Smith Mailer. I mean, I think Smith is the pick here. I think it's just whether or not he gets a major or not, and I'm going to say he does.
And I agree 100% with you.
Okay. 84, Feinsilver Romero. Who you got here?
I got Romero probably by, I'm going to say by 2 points. It's going to be a close match. Romero doesn't give up a lot of stuff. He doesn't score a lot of points. Feinsilver's a stud, a really, really good transfer that Michigan got. So, yeah, I think Romero will find a way to win this match.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Ohio State has one of the better home environments too. So,
yep.
Sometimes when guys are even, that matters. So 197, Gavin Hoffman. He was ranked about this last year. I think he was like the 26, 27, 28 seed at Nationals last year. He was on one of my fantasy teams and made it the 6th. He's obviously having a season where he's more like his regular season last year than it was like his NCAA tournament. But I'm going to pick him by decision.
And I agree 100%, but I think I'm not even sure who Michigan's going to throw out there, David. They don't have anybody that I know that could probably wrestle real close with him. So I'm going to go by major.
I think you're probably right, but I will not change my pick. So, okay. Heavyweight, Paris Orndorff. I have strong feelings here, but it's your turn to go first. So go ahead.
I'm going to take Paris by fall. I just think he's flying high right now from beating Kirkfleet. He looks healthy. Orndorff just finds a way to end up on his back. It seems like against really good kids, and I'm not sure why, but because I know he's got a Greco background, but he finds I don't get it, but I think Paris runs right over the top of him.
Well, Paris is sort of the kryptonite for him. He's really good at leg attacks, really good at finishing, and then when he finishes, he goes to that bottom leg Turk as well as anybody, and then he goes that either half Nelson or cross neck is what we used to call it, whatever you want to call it, football the head kind of thing, and get back points. And that's a thing that once you're there once or twice, that's not like that tilt where it's minimal effort to not get pinned. That roll through tilt everybody's hitting is really hard to not go to your back, but it's also fairly easy to not get pinned out of it. Sure. This is a hold where you get pinned. So I'm going to agree with you. So you've got it 3-0, 6-0, 6-3, 6-7 Michigan, 9-7 Michigan, 9-10 Michigan, 9-14 Michigan, 9-17 Michigan, 9-21. You have a 21-15 Ohio State. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'll do it differently. It's easier. Ohio State 3, and 3 is 6, and 6 is 12. 3 is 15, 4 is 19. 19, I have a 25. I have Michigan with 1, 2, 3, 12. So basically we have it very, very close. I think you're probably going to be right about 197 that it'll be bonus. And I think the only match we disagreed on in terms of winner loser is 25.
Yep.
Now the path to victory for Michigan is they got to win 25. They got to win 33. They got to win 41. I mean, if you're going to get to 5 wins, this is how they got to get there. They got to win 57. They got to win 65. And they got to win heavy.
Yep.
So just if you're following along, I mean, I guess they could win 84, but I actually don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So let us.
Are we doing Oklahoma State, Iowa State now?
We have 23 minutes. So how long do you want to spend on Iowa, Penn State?
Not long.
On Iowa, Penn State?
No.
Really?
Yeah. Do you think that's going to take a while?
All right. We'll do Iowa State, Oklahoma State.
I was kidding, David. Let's do Iowa, Penn State.
Mark.
This is the Super Bowl of all Super Bowls.
That's why I was asking. I don't know what you're doing. We usually lay out a plan. You curveballed me.
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. So we also have GT's picks here, okay?
All right. Let's throw those in once we give ours so he can be the last person to speak, so say. I'm going to start out with Spencer. I'm going to go out on a limb here, David. I'm going to say Spencer gets his 7th fall in a row, and it will be in the first period. I'm guessing probably right around 53 seconds, somewhere in that area. It'll be within that first minute, I think.
No, pick a number, because if you hit the number on the head, I have a number in my mind.
All right, I'm going to go 53 seconds.
I'm going to say 1:17. I don't know why, but that just appeared. Okay.
It's a good number.
Maybe it's stupid. So we'll see. Okay. So you're going first, and Grant has Spencer by fall as well.
Oh.
He's just not insane enough to pick a time like you and I are. Okay. 33. RBY Teskey. So I think this is RBY by major.
Okay.
Grant has it by major, and I think you're going to say something differently.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a decision. I think RBY will win the match. I think it will be probably 5 or 6 points. People got to understand that these guys were teammates. They're really, really good friends.
Wait. When were they teammates? Just so people understand.
Well, Brody Teskey went to Penn State. His first 2 years out of high school, he was at Penn State.
First year.
First 2. He redshirted his first year, and he started for him the second year.
Okay.
He was going to be their 25-pounder because they've struggled at that weight, obviously. And they were really good friends. And then Brody transferred to UNI and wrestled 2 years at UNI, Big 12 champion 1 year, runner-up the next year, round of 12, I think twice at the NCAAs, went up to 33, has not had a lot of matches in this year, but they know each other. They work out. They do MMA together, training. So I just don't know. I think Roman knows he's better, and I think he's going to go out and kind of show it early on, and then I think it will be a really controlled match after that. So I'm going to go by a decision.
Okay. I can almost argue that's why it'll be a major, because he knows he's better. But if you're saying
he knows he's better than everybody at 133,
I get it.
But he beat Ragusan 4-2.
But that's why but that is only non-bonus victory of the year.
I understand that.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, 41. Glad you're going first here. Go ahead.
Oh, I am. Okay, I'm going to take Real Woods.
You took Spence early, so you got the odds. I'm
gonna take Real. I know Bartlett's probably a little bit better on his feet than Real Woods, but I think Real Woods will go out there and get the first takedown, and I think he will turn him a couple times, and then it's going to be Bo trying to chase him down, and I don't think he's going to catch him. It'd be a decision. But I think Real Woods is he's a different level on top than what Bo has ever wrestled at 41. 49, I saw him on his back a few times, in the past 2 years when he was wrestling up at 149. And I think Real Woods will be able to do that to him this weekend.
Okay. So Grant's got Woods by decision as well. We just have text here, so we don't have his logic or reasoning. So I have waffled on this tremendously. Okay. So
waffle, that's a good word. I like that. Waffle. Okay. All right.
It's actually an accurate description. So the part of me that if Woods wins, I think it's exactly what you said. Get the first takedown, turn. Even if he gets tired, if you're down 4 or 6-0, that's a lot of 2-for-1s, right?
Yep.
To come back. The other part of me thinks Bo Bartlett, lets Woods shoot, does his go behind offense. And let me tell you, if I figured out that Real Woods, you just don't want to be underneath him, but he's, semi-vulnerable for a guy ranked number 2 in the country in these other positions, I'm pretty sure Penn State's figured that out.
Okay.
So for the sake of the duel, I want Woods to win, but for the sake of the picks, I'm going to pick Bartlett.
All right.
Okay. 49. Van Ness, Murin. So Grant's got Max first name only by decision. So I love that.
Well, I've really grown on Grant, haven't I?
Grant loves you, bro. We all love you. So I feel like Murin, okay, so we got to remember, this is at Penn State, okay, which is where GT is at. And we were at this duel last year when it's Iowa. This is another thing where, in general, if it's close, I would go with the home side.
Yep.
But I don't see Bartlett and Van Ness both, in terms of rankings, pulling upsets, which is stupid because they're completely non-correlated actions. But Murin's really hard to score on. Murin's almost related to Will Lewan that way. He does a little bit more, but just so hard to score on. I don't know if Van Ness has had anybody hand fight him as hard as Murin will. So I'm going to take Murin.
Okay.
Who you got?
I got Murin. And really the only reason I got Murin is Max he struggles a little bit when guys get to his legs, but they don't usually get to the legs straight on. It's more of at an angle. And Van Ness likes to shoot straight on. He likes to come right down the center of your chest and try to bully you and score. And I just don't see him doing that to Max. I think Max will probably get one counter shot on him, get to that single, and then turn it into a double and run it across his body. Neither of these two athletes are dangerous on top. They can both get out. So it's going to be one on their feet. And I think it's going to be harder to get through Max's hands head defense than it is to get through Shane's.
Okay. That's your breakdown, folks.
That's it.
57, Seabrook Haynes. Who and why?
Who is a big question. If Haynes wrestles, I think he will. Cal's good at, keeping things real close to his chest and not letting people know what's going on. I think if Kobe wrestles Bear Claw, I think he beats him.
I think that's a given. So,
Bear Claw lost by a point or 2 points to Levi earlier this year in the finals of a tournament. Now, I know they work out together, but still, he kept it very close. So,
he's 2-1. But listen, just for the sake of argument, and it's back, you have the mic in a second. I don't think, for the sake of argument, anybody's saying Kobe Seabrook would lose to either Barraclaw or Haynes. I think we're going to say he would. If Barraclaw wrestles, we'll all go on record now as saying Seabrook over Barraclaw. So now, go ahead with Seabrook Haynes.
Oh, I got to go with Haynes. I've watched him wrestle, and I saw what he did to Wisconsin, and I saw how Kobe wrestled against Wisconsin, and it looked like two different completely matches. I just think he's got too much talent right now. And I like Kobe. I like the way he wrestles. I like the way he'll let it fly, and he'll step over when you're doing something and put you to your back. Levi's too smart for that. It's going to be real calculating, his little high crotch right into a double, run the pipe. He won't ride him. Kobe's good underneath. Kobe's decent on top, but he's not going to turn Levi. So I got Levi by a decision.
Okay. I agree. I don't think much else. I just think he's wrestling better right now. So I keep it really simple. Okay. 65.
Who'd Grant pick?
He's got Haynes.
Okay.
65. He's got Kennedy. Okay.
Oh, big upset.
This is okay. So it is and it isn't. It is that it's 11 beating 7. But if Facundo had not wrestled Amin, not saying he wouldn't have beat him, but if he just wrestled Amin like a week later, he'd have been ranked like 16th or whatever he was the week before.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bunch of ways to look at that. It's one match. He clearly deserved, if you watch the match, he won. They threw a brick. Michigan won the brick. Now Michigan's winning. He gets out quick and then just out-wrestled him in overtime.
Okay.
So, there's a big part of me that wants to pick Kennedy because I want the duel to be close, but I'm going to pick Facundo.
Okay.
Who you got?
I'm going to pick Kennedy. I think he's got a gas tank. I love the way he wrestled at Wisconsin. I don't love the way he was able to finish some of the shots, but I don't think Facundo is going to give him the same issues that Hamidi gave him. And I think Kennedy's going to use the underhook. I think he's going to get in on those singles. And I think this is a really, really even match, but I'm going to take Kennedy by a decision.
And this is a who's number one rematch, from a Flow event when they were both seniors. So
who won that?
I don't remember. I just saw that they posted that. So
okay.
74, Starachi, Nelson Brands. You are first here. Mark picks Starachi. I'm sorry, GT picks Starachi by decision.
Okay. And I'm going to also pick Starachi by a decision. Nelson will keep it closer than people anticipate. Carter is not normally known for a lot of bonus points, but this year I think his bonus point is right in the 80 percentile, so he's really picked up his game. I just think it's really hard to open up against Nelson and score at will because of his hand fighting. And he's strong. And he will, if you make a bad shot, he will be behind you. So I'm going to give Nelson Brands it's going to be a decision. I'm thinking probably, I'd say 3 points, maybe 4.
Okay, so you and me we used to pick like probably 150 matches a year. We just haven't done it for the last couple years.
Yeah.
Set a line on this.
I'm going to say 4.5 Strachey, and I'm going to predict that he wins by 4.
So if you so the way we do it is you set the number and then the other person picks the other side of it, okay? Yep. So you'd set the number at 4. That way you can actually win if you get it on the head.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's what we started doing later when we do this.
Yeah, well, that was, yeah.
Because before you pick 4.5 and I pretty much decide you can't hit it exactly right, and we switched that.
David, where would you put the number on this match?
So first of all, I would pick Strachey at -4.5. You getting 4, okay? But because I think it's 6 or 7. I think like he gets a takedown, like it's 2-1 with like a minute and a half of riding time, and he gets away, gets another takedown. Maybe it's 5-2. Maybe Brands gets out. He gets out again, 5-3. Gets a takedown, 7-3. Kicks him loose, 7-4. Gets a takedown, 9-4. Riding time, 10-4. That's what I think.
All right.
Okay. That's probably way too much detail, but that's what I think. Okay. Aaron Brooks, Abe Assad. Number 1 against number 11. Assad actually dropped in the rankings because he got pinned by Tyler Dow in the double over position. Kind of questionable whether he's actually pinned. They would have been down 6-0. Assad's the kind of guy that can run you down, but nonetheless, he lost. I think he was ranked 8th or 9th the week before, so he drops. Aaron Brooks has pretty much been that dude for the last 2-3 years. He lost to Coleman in kind of a crazy flurry. He lost to Amin last year at Big Tens, but beat him in the duel and really dominated him at the NCAAs.
Yep.
And I am going to pick pretty much what Grant picked, which is Aaron Brooks by 7 points. Like I think
if you remember the duel at Iowa last year, I think Aaron Brooks was up by 7 points after the first period, and then just kind of shut down. Just didn't do a lot.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. I don't know if it's exactly the right number, but I do remember like he just stopped.
Very wrestling. Similar to that, yeah. Maybe that was after the second period. He was up by 7 and he had riding time, and it was just there was no reason that you didn't think he was going to continue to do an onslaught on him. And I think, me personally, I think they're going to need the major in this duel, David, because I'm going to have Iowa winning 5 and I'm going to have Penn State winning 5. And right now, the only one we have with the bonus, if I'm not mistaken,
well, the only one you have
Spencer Lee with the fall.
Yes.
They're going to need bonus points.
GT and I have RBY with the major.
Okay. So there's one. They're going to need another one.
Actually, I'm going to go major Brooks here. Go ahead. Well, because I have it in my mind, I have it 18-18, so I think I already messed up.
Okay.
But go ahead.
All right. That's fine. I think Aaron Brooks will probably get the major. Abe has wrestled really well all year long. He really has. He lost to Iowa State, and then he got tossed by Wisconsin in a position he wasn't obviously comfortable in. I'm not even sure why he was in that position in the first place. Remember last couple of years, he used to throw a headlock every once in a while, and he'd slip and give up too. I wish he would have done that instead. But
he got brought up. So just so you understand,
Aaron Brooks is probably one of the top 3 pound-for-pound kids in the country. I just think he's that talented. So I just think he's really good, and I think he'll probably win by a major.
Okay. Max Dean Jacob Warner. GT has Dean by decision. Floor is yours.
Wow. Warner had him beat last year in the duel.
Yeah.
Was up by, I think he was up 3-0 at one point in the duel. Max Dean has had a couple losses this year, not bad losses, but losses. Didn't wrestle.
Just real quick, all in one weekend, Beard and Laird, just so people
know. But he beat Bastida pretty handily. I think it was by like 4 points. And Jacob Warner hasn't quite figured out Bastida yet. Jacob Warner's had some losses this year that you just scratch your head, giving up single legs and not fighting it, just falling right over and giving up the points, bellying out.
The Bronigal losses, I think I'm referring to.
Well, Elam did the same thing to him. He singled him 3 times and took him down all 3 times with it. And then once he got in on it and didn't finish it properly, and Warner came out the back door and ended up with the takedown. I still haven't figured out how he did that because he was sitting on his butt when he did it. But I'm going to go Max Dean, but I think it will be a decision. I think it will be probably a 3-point match. I think it'd be fairly close. I don't think he's going to turn him again like he did, last year in the duel. I think they wrestled in overtime at the finals of the national tournament. I think Max gives him the respect that, obviously being a finalist, he deserves it.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a decision. I don't see any way it's going to be a major unless he catches him on his back.
I agree completely. And also for the sake of time, it probably makes more sense for me to just get to heavyweight. Okay. So heavyweight, GT has got Big Tone for the decision. And that gets him at 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And he's got it. I'm sorry. He had Dean by major.
Okay.
So he's got it 18, 17, Iowa. I'm first here. So this is the weird thing. Like, I watched that duel and Cassiope just controlled Kirkfleet in the upper body. But then Kirkfleet wrestled him way better at the All-Star meet this year. So it's like, well, did he figure him out or did he not figure him out? So, I mean, like right now, I've got Iowa winning 2 matches, which is nuts. Because I literally talked to somebody, I'm like, I think Iowa could win 6 matches. And just when I do these picks, somehow I got Penn State winning all of them. So I'm going to take Cassiope.
Okay.
And I'm guessing you're taking Cassiope.
I am taking Cassiope. I think he's probably, next to Spencer Lee, has wrestled the best of anybody on the Iowa team. And he's wrestling really well in the third period. Some of the matches are a little closer than, I'd like to see. Hilger, obviously, scoring a takedown with 30 seconds left or 40 seconds left, and then he ended up riding him out. But Tony can wrestle for 7 minutes. And if he can get through the first period with Kirkfleet not giving up a takedown, I think it's favored of Tony. Now, if he gives up a couple takedowns like he did at the All-Star meet, it's going to be really hard to come back because that just gives Kirkfleet a lot more, energy, and it'll be tough to come back if he gets taken down early in the match a couple times. But 1 takedown he can live with, 2 takedowns, it's going to be really hard to come back, but I'm going to go with Tony.
Okay, that you have it 18-16 Iowa. GT has it 18-17 Iowa. I have it 23-12 Penn State, and I feel like I'm wrong. So let's put it this way. If I said to you, you get Iowa and 3.5, who do you take?
Well, because I'm betting with my heart a lot of this, 3.5, I would probably take. I got Iowa winning.
So you're definitely going to take the points.
Probably going to take the points, David.
Okay. I'll take Penn State minus 3.5. Wing bet?
No.
No.
No. I would say if I was setting a line, David, I would say Penn State by 7. 7 or 8. 7 or 8.
So I've got
they're favored in pretty much every match except for maybe 2.
They're favored. I have it on a whiteboard here. They're favored at 7 of the 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But so if you
and one of those is kind of a toss-up, right?
Well, no, there's also some toss-ups for Penn State. Okay.
Really, David?
Yeah, Kirkfleet and Cassiope is definitely a toss-up. I mean,
Kirkfleet just kind of put a clinic on them at the All-Star meet.
Facundo Kennedy is a toss-up. Haynes Seabrook is a toss-up.
I disagree there right now.
Okay.
I think Haynes is a real deal.
Okay.
I think Max Murin and
Van Ness is a toss-up.
Van Ness is a toss-up. Yep.
Okay. All right. I got Iowa State, Oklahoma State on the board. I'm going to get this, run through this real quick.
Can we just pick the winners?
I'm just going to go through and you tell me if you disagree.
Okay.
That'll be quick.
Okay.
We got Mastro winning 25. We got Fix winning 33.
Yes.
We have Swiderski winning 41.
Yes.
We have Panero winning 49.
Yes.
We have Gefeller winning 57.
Yes.
We have Carr winning 65.
Correct.
Plott winning 74.
Correct.
Coleman winning 84.
Correct.
Bastida winning 97.
Correct.
Schuyler winning heavyweight.
Correct.
Okay, so that gives Iowa State 6-4.
Yep.
They win 41, 49, 65, and the last 3.
Correct.
Okay. Don't see a lot of bonus in here. Yeah, I really don't. Maybe Plott.
Carr?
Maybe David Carr.
I can see David Carr majoring with as good as he is on his feet.
Maybe Dayton. But honestly, Iowa's hard to wrestler. Oh, Mastro. Mastro could bonus. But Mastro's hurt. So Mastro's hurt. So if they wrestle Blankenship, I think they win, but I also think it's decision.
Okay.
So Oklahoma State's about to go into a gauntlet of a dual meet schedule. They still have to wrestle Iowa State, Northern Iowa, Missouri, and Michigan, and Iowa.
Well, let me tell you else, it's got a gauntlet of a mission. Brody Teske. Brody Teske wrestles RBY, Dayton Fix, Ragusan, kid from Minnesota, who's really good on top.
Nagao.
Yeah, Nagao. That's a tough road to hoe too. So we're gonna find a lot out about Brody Teske.
All right, guys, go to fantasygrade.com. I am doing a play-by-play on this meet tomorrow night with my good friend Marcus Hain on his Rockfin channel, MarcusHoehn. We're going to have some people call in. We're working on getting Ben Askren and Randy Couture to call in, so especially on the intermission. So we will have it up. I've actually got the picks on my whiteboard over here, so we're all set. We will appreciate everybody watching and listening. Maybe GT would call in at the intermission. He'll be there. So
maybe I'll call in, David.
You should call in. Do you want to call in tomorrow?
I should, but I wasn't invited.
No, that's not true.
You're naming all these movie stars and stuff, these high flying,
Ben Askren is not a movie star. Do you want to call in tomorrow?
I might.
Okay.
I might be on a train though, so who knows?
All right. Well, but you're invited, sir. You'd be our first guest. Let's go.
I should be.
Yeah, you are. So, all right. Hey, thank you for repping Missouri Border Brawl. Thank everybody for watching and listening. We will see you all next week.